First, we'd like to thank you here at Ingenierica for choosing AccuTrack. AccuTrack is the most popular software nationwide and abroad for advanced time and attendance tracking. We're very proud of our AccuTrack software, and we know it'll be a great addition to your center. Today's video will show you how to install AccuTrack and then how to make the database available across the network so multiple different sign-in stations can use it. Okay? So I popped in my key here. Now, depending on your operating system, it may ask you to run the AccuTrack.exe or open a folder. But I want to go ahead and run AccuTrack.exe. This is our installer program. And once that opens, I'm going to go ahead and pick AccuTrack. By the way, it'll pop open a little license agreement so you can review that and go ahead and close it. Okay, but then I'm going to pick AccuTrack here. And my second option here is install AccuTrack, so I'll click that. And this will open the Windows installer program. Okay, and then I'll click Next. And Next again. And here's another license agreement, so I'll go ahead and accept that and click Next. Here you can enter your information for your organization. And Next. I would recommend you install for anyone who uses a computer, so go ahead and leave that selected. Okay, I'll do Next, and this is the default install folder. I could change that, but I'll go ahead and accept the defaults. And I want to do a typical installation. That's going to include users, manuals, and various other things, so I would suggest typical. Click Next. You can review your settings here, and finally click the Install button. And depending on the speed of your computer, it may take a few minutes to do the install. Now, by the way, if I want to put AccuTrack on different computers, different sign-in stations, or administrators that may want to run reports, I would install AccuTrack on each of those client machines. But again, I'll show you in a minute how I can make the database available then across the network so all of the various machines would connect to it. Okay, so once the installation is complete, I can click the Finish button. And this is my installer program. I could minimize that if I wanted to, or exit. I'll go ahead and exit it. Okay, and you'll notice here on the desktop I have an AccuTrack icon. I can launch the program there. Also in my Programs menu, I have an AccuTrack folder here. And when I click that, I can launch the program. I also have some manuals, the Quick Start, Reference, and what's new in version 12. Okay, but I'll go ahead and double-click on the AccuTrack icon from the desktop. And the first time I open that, what it's going to do is copy some files over here, and it will do that automatically. Okay, and then AccuTrack will open. Now, by the way, by default, I'm going to be pointing to a tutoring sample database on my own local drive. Okay, now once you decide that you want to go live with your data or use the real data, you would use a blank database and then build it yourself. We include that and a tutoring sample and advising sample database with the installer. And I'm logging in the first time with 9 ones, so 11111 9 times. The password is all caps NEW. It'll say I'm using the default password, but I can say OK there, and the program will open. And again, if I go to my database location, I can see that I'm pointing to my C drive and the tutoring sample database. Okay. And just to take a quick look, if I look at, say, students here, for example, I can see I have a lot of made-up students. So this is all just sample data. So you can go ahead and test the system with the sample data, see how it works, play around with the settings, and then once you're ready to go live, again, you would use a blank database. That blank database is called AccuData, and it's right in the folder where AccuTrack is installed. Okay, so for my next step, what I'm going to do is go ahead and take that blank AccuData database, and then I'm going to make it available on my network so all of the other machines where I've installed AccuTrack would be able to use it. Okay. And I can go out to my AccuTrack folder. Right here where AccuTrack is installed, and I have an AccuData folder here. Okay, now this is my blank database. Again, I mentioned we had some sample databases. Well, under my sample databases, I have an advising sample and a tutoring sample. Okay, but I want to take my blank database, my AccuData database, and put it on the network. Okay, there are two folders that I'm going to need in order to do that. I need my AccuData folder, and I also need my data DIC, my data dictionary folder. Okay, so I'm going to copy both of those folders here. Okay, and then I've got my network open right here, Okay, and these are some of the computers on the network, but I've created a shared drive under my Support 1 computer here. Okay, and I've got a folder called AccuTrack Files. Okay, so I'm going to go into that folder and I'm going to paste my AccuData and my data DIC folder. Okay, now there are some permissions that I need to be concerned with here on the network. What I want to do is on this network shared folder, I want my AccuTrack Files folder and all of the files and folders underneath it to have read, write, modify access for anyone that's going to be accessing the database. Okay, so any of those users, you would want to assign them read, write, modify permissions to that folder and all the files and folders under it. Okay. So now I've got my database out there under my AccuTrack Files, but what I want to do is then tell AccuTrack to use that database. Okay? Now I can do that through the program by opening it up again and then picking my data location, going out to my Support 1 computer, to my AccuTrack Files folder. But right here I've got a little utility again in my installer. It's called Set Data Path. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open that. And that's going to enable me to change my database location right here. Okay, so I'll go in native mode. That's for AccuTrack. And here's my data path. You can see it right here. But I'm going to go ahead and select my path. At the very top, sorry. So there's my network. And it may take a little bit for it to find all the computers on the network, so it's searching for them now. Okay, so there we go. And again, it's on Support 1, so I'll expand that. And then AccuTrack Files and AccuData. That's my database folder, so I'll do OK there. And then I'm going to save that. Okay, and it says, well, fine, for the changes to take effect, you must exit and restart. Okay, so I'll do that. And then I'm going to reopen my AccuTrack again. And now it's going to open a blank database that's out on the shared drive. And the default again is all ones, 9 ones, all caps new. I'll sign in. And I can verify my database location here. So I'm out on my Support 1 server, and I'm pointing to my blank AccuData database under an AccuTrack Files folder. Okay. And to verify that it is a blank database, I can go look at my student records, and I shouldn't have any, and I don't. So now this is my live database. This is the one I would begin to do my imports and build for use. Okay. And that's it. congratulations for successfully installing AccuTrack. And you can call us here if you have any questions at all.